Good morning, Spencer Butte. It's Wednesday, and here's your news.
Entries for the Martin Luther King Jr. Poetry and Essay Contest are due next Friday, February 9th. Hopefully lots of you are working on amazing pieces. If you need more information, there are flyers in the office.
There's a cooking club meeting today. There's no cooking club meeting today after school. There's not going to be any more for the rest of the week, but there will be next week.
There's a yearbook meeting during both lunches. Hope to see all staff there.
Yesterday, we learned a lot about the brain growth and how it is focused on the brainstem and cerebellum in your early years, and that as you get older, the front areas of the brain, like the decision-making and analytical areas, are developing and don't reach maturity until your early 20s.
We also learned about why we have wrinkles in the brain. They are called the cortex. You'll learn more about this in our next video.
And the cortex is really where all the magic is happening in terms of thinking. Now, below the cortex, there are all sorts of other very important functions happening. These have to do with things like breathing and heartbeat and keeping your temperature straight and letting you know when you're hungry. All sorts of very important things. And we'll talk more about those later. But the cortex, the outer part, is really the magical stuff that determines your ability to think through a problem and make the right sorts of decisions, and to sense the world, to have a sensory experience of watching a sunset or tasting feta cheese or feeling velvet in your fingertips. These all require the cortex to be in place. So when we zoom in on the details of what's happening in the cortex, you find that different regions are specialized for very particular things. So for example, the back part of the brain here is specialized for vision. So even though your eyes are in the front, that information crosses the entire territory of the brain and ends up being processed in the back of the brain. On the side here is where hearing takes place. This is where the information that comes in through your ears actually also goes across the brain and gets processed here in the auditory cortex, as it's called. Along here is the part that processes all the signals from your body. So your skin is one giant sheet of sensor material, essentially. And so everything, it senses touch and vibration and heat, and all that information streams back into your brain, and it's this part of your brain where that's getting processed. And in this intermediate territory, that's where all of those senses come together. And that's why when we experience the world, it's what we call multisensory. It's in that fashion. We don't just see things and hear them and touch them separately, but we actually, when we touch things, have a sense of hearing it and feeling it and seeing it all at the same time. It feels like a single unified experience. So you have parts of the cortex that are very specialized, and then all the rest of the cortex is where that information flows together, and we have this multi-sensory experience of the world.
Make it a good day, Spencer Butte.